Sing me a song of a lass that is gone. Say, could that lass be I? Mary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky.
Hey everybody, Owlvine here. Today I wanted to share with you some of my pagan and witchy favourite books. So today is the novel edition. I really love reading novels because to me they bring a story to life. So I enjoy reading non-fiction, witchy books as well, and learning the how-tos and the why-fors and, the history and all that kind of thing. But for me, reading novels really brings that sort of stuff, into my senses fully. I can kind of go into those worlds and experience like I don't really get with non-fiction books. So a lot of the books I'm going to share with you are based at least somewhat on fact. So they're based somewhat on fact, and so it kind of brings about the life of the story. So I enjoy getting into those and kind of getting into the world in where people experienced magic as an everyday thing. For that reason, I particularly love historical fiction. So without further ado, I've got quite a list of books here, or quite a pile of books I should say, so I will get into it. One of my very favourite books I'm rereading currently is called The Spiral Dance, and this is by R. Garcia Y. Robertson, so not to be confused with Starhawk's book, The Spiral Dance. I actually purchased this thinking that it was Starhawk's book, mistakenly, and I'm really glad I did. It's a beautiful novel. It's so pagan, and it's witchy as well. There's witches through here, and it's the story of one woman meeting her destiny, shall we say. And it begins in England. It's set in the Elizabethan, when Queen Elizabeth was on the throne, that era. And it starts in England and goes through to Scotland and up into the Highlands and to the ends of the earth. And this book I would highly recommend if you're at all into anything pagan. It's so pagan and so beautiful, and it's one of my absolute favourite reads, so I would definitely highly recommend that. I'll put the I'll put the information of all the books I recommend down below, or that I show you down below anyway. The next is, which is the first one? I've got, I think that's the right way around, the Untitled series. So there are 3 books currently in this series, and there's another one coming out soon, hopefully. Now this was written by Maria Kvilhaug, I think is how you pronounce her name. And these are Norse books. Now, Maria is so knowledgeable. She's written a lot of non-fiction books as well, which are just like packed with information. I know a few people who will be watching this have read her stuff, and she's brilliant. So I love these books because they bring that Nordic era to life. There's so much fact mixed with fiction in these books, so it really brings all the Norse myths to life, and you kind of get to see, how people back then lived, and Maria is actually from Norway, so she has a lot of cultural knowledge as well. But these are the first 2 books in the series, and I got the second one not that long ago, and I absolutely loved it. They're quite expensive because of the way she had them published, but really worth it. Definitely worth it. So Untitled series, The Hammer of Greatness is the first book, and My Enemy's Head is the second book. So those ones are amazing as well. And next is another series. Okay, here we go. Okay, so A Discovery of Witches series. So I think I've got them in the wrong order. I do. Hang on. Okay, wait. Switch. There we go. Yes. So the first book is A Discovery of Witches, and this series is by Deborah Harkness. That's the third book. I can't do this, man. I need another hand. So my favourite of the series was the second one, because that goes back into history. So the first one is set in modern day America, and goes through, they do a little time travel in the second one, and they go back to, when do they go back to? Should have checked that out first. Oh yes, 1590 they go back to. And it's got a whole bunch of true life historical figures in there as well, and you know, it's a really good book, so I love that. So this is definitely witchy over pagan, and it's a really wonderful series and easy read, and yeah. Okay, next is Wise Child. Now this one is pagan and witchy. I loved this book. When I first read it, it just like, oh, I want to be Juniper. She is an amazing witch. She's very, very close to the earth, works with herbs, works hard, you know, and just, it's a gorgeous little book. It's very small, as you can see, little pages, and it has, how many pages? I should probably told you like pages and stuff like that. That's the proper thing to do, isn't it? Oh well. So it's got 228 pages, but they're little pages. It's a very easy read as well, and it's just like a beautiful little witchy story about a little girl coming into her witchiness. So this is a lovely book as well. The next one is also a series, but I've just got the one tiny book, so that makes life easier. This is, oh, that's my bookmark. It's a zoo card. Zoo membership. Is the Obernewtyn Chronicles series by Isabel Carmody. So this is the first book, Obernewtyn. Now, this is actually an Australian, Isabel Carmody is an Australian author, and she actually wrote this first book when she was still in university, or like college age for those of you in the US. And she's just recently released the last one, which I didn't even know about until I went to a secondhand bookstore and I saw it there, and I was like, oh my god, because I've been looking out for it for so long and like didn't hear anything about it coming out. So it slipped right by me, that one, but I brought that up as soon as I saw it. So she's now, I think she's about 47. I think she was 47. So these books span through that whole time, so her writing definitely, you know, develops and deepens, but the story is a really great one. So this first book is quite simple in the way it's written, kind of like Harry Potter, you know, how it begins quite simple and gets, you know, more complex and deep and that sort of thing. Same sort of thing, but these are really cool. So these aren't pagan or witchy really, but the people in them have like different kind of powers and things like that, and I'm such a nerd. I'm assuming that I'm talking to fellow nerds. Hi, fellow nerds. It's really good. So I would definitely recommend that. There are 7 books in the series, and I think it's 8 in the American version of the series, because in one book they split into 2. So Obernewtyn by Isabel Carmody. Highly recommended. The Mists of Avalon is the next one. This book is like insanely witchy, insanely pagan. Now, some awful things came out about Marion Zimmer Bradley a while ago. It turns out she was somewhat of a predator, which unfortunately, yeah, it's an awful thing, and it's tainted her work for a lot of people, which I completely understand, obviously. But this is a really witchy book, and it is a wonderful one, and she's no longer alive and benefiting from the proceeds. So there's that. Oh, my book's dying. Okay. The next one is Practical Magic, the novel. Now, I don't like this cover very much. I prefer the one that has the purple shoe. If you guys have seen that, it's beautiful. But it was quite a bit more expensive than this version, and I'm a cheap ass, so I purchased this one, which I kind of regret now because I really like the other one. Anyway, Practical Magic. This is really different to the movie. I watched the movie originally, and I love the movie, as I think many of us do. It's probably up there with my favourite witchy movie, definitely, I would say. The book's very different, but I really enjoyed it too. So if you haven't read the book yet, take it as very much based off. You know, the aunts are quite different in this book. Even the main characters are very different in this book. Like it's all quite different. But the story is there. I liked it because I felt like it dug deeper into some parts that the movie kind of just glanced over. I loved the aunts in the movie far better though, but this kind of gives a bit of background to them. So if you kind of read it, you know, thinking complimentary thoughts to the movie, it's really good as well. So that's an enjoyable one, and obviously witchy as hell. Okay, the next one is in a series. This is Cross Stitch by Diana. How do you pronounce that name? Gabaldon? 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 Oh, and Practical Magic is by Alice Hoffman, by the way. Anyway, this is the Outlander series. So there's a TV show which has been made on this series, which I was so excited about when I found out. I had no idea they were making it. And it came out and I was like, oh my God. My husband bought me this book well before we were husband and wife. And I just fell in love with it. So this is set in Scotland. Well, it's set in England and then time travel to Scotland again. You're sensing a theme. I love I love Scotland and Ireland and England and Europe, and yeah, so there's lots of books like that. This is a really wonderful series. I love it. It's not inherently witchy, but there is like magic throughout it. And it's really interesting. Like I love Scotland and I love that era. She goes back to 1743, and just kind of seeing how they lived and getting into that world, I really enjoy. For me, I feel like when I think of witchcraft, I go to Europe. Like that's where my mind takes me, and back to those eras as well. And I think a lot of the things that we do today are based off those times. So I really enjoy kind of going into these worlds and experiencing them, you know, as much as I can in my head for myself. So that's why I love this series, but it's a really good series as well. Two more, kind of. So then, whoa. So professional. The Clan of the Cave Bear and the Valley of Horses. Now these are a part of a much larger series. These are the first two books in the series. I think my favourite so far, I've read 4 of them, has been the Valley of Horses, which is number 2. And with these books, really, you can kind of pick them up anywhere. You know, the story does flow through, but it's a pretty basic storyline. So you can kind of pick them up wherever. I haven't actually even read the first one yet. I think I started at like the 4th one, like years ago when I was a teenager. I think I found them. Yeah, and then read the 3rd, and now I've read the 2nd, and I've still got to read the 1st. I'm kind of going backwards. But I've got to read this for one of my grey school units, so I thought I'd just wait anyway to read that. So the Valley of Horses. What is the actual... I don't know what the actual series is called. Clan of the Cave Bear. It says it right there. Thank you. Okay. So this is set in prehistoric Europe. So this is the oldest, what's the word? The oldest setting of any of these books. How long do I have left? Okay. I really love these. Again, there's a lot of fact mixed up with fiction here. You know, she goes into a lot of detail about, you know, various archaeological finds and things like that. So obviously not as archaeological finds, but as they were back then, if that makes sense. So for example, in this book, The Valley of Horses, there's a part where she goes into all of the, the shaping of flint and making tools and all that kind of thing, and it's really interesting. So I love these books. Yeah, so they're set in like the Ice Age, a hostile land of glacial cold, terrifying beasts and intense loneliness. Really good. And that is by Jean M. Auel. I think you pronounce her name. So there's those ones as well. And last but not least, it has to get a mention. Do you know what it's going to be? Oh my goodness, this pile. Harry Potter! I love Harry Potter. Okay, I know some of you don't like Harry Potter because it's like, well, that's not real magic. Like, magic isn't really like that. But as if you don't want to go to Hogwarts. I wish I would get my letter to go to Hogwarts. It's just the best. I loved reading these books. My grade 6 teacher read this book to us. Like, we would read a little bit every afternoon, and she was English too, so it was like in her perfect accent, and it was just amazing. It was so magical. So yeah, I first had that book read to me back then. I was going to go into a story about my mum and Harry Potter, but you know what, I might just tell it in a different video at another time. So I love these, and I've been rereading them recently, and this is my very favourite one, so I thought I would show you. The Order of the Phoenix is my favourite Harry Potter book. So these are some of my favourite witchy and or pagan novels. I would love to hear what yours are. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm always looking for more, of course. And let me know what your favourite Harry Potter book is, if you have one as well. Yes, thank you for joining me in the Nerd Corner. I appreciate it very much, and I look forward to hearing what your favourite books are, because I would like to read some of them, please. I wish you all much love and many blessings. Bye.